I don't care how many videos you see on social media. It's going to take a miracle for you to get wealthy chasing shitcoins. But I digress. What's good, family? Welcome to episode 42, the Big Game James Worthy episode of Stack Sats or Die Trying. This is the Bitcoin Only Show brought to you by the Black Wealth Rebels and by the Hood. I'm your host, as always. My name is Jimmy. Let's get right into what we're going to talk about this week. And this week, I want to talk about the Lightning Network. Before I do so, I also want to shout out everybody who is a member of our village, man. You know, that's what we call them. We call them the village, man, a member of our Patreon. You can get in there for free. We have different tiers. Just go to blackwealthrebels.com. That's blackwealthrebels.com. Make sure to join the Patreon. Even if you join the free tier, we're trying to move everything, into one space. And for those that are in the paid tier, you absolutely get extra content on Bitcoin, all kinds of investing, just extra shows in general, right? So everything's not necessarily about investing. We are building a true community. So go to blackwealthrebels.com, but also, shout out to everybody with the great feedback from last episode, man. It is definitely appreciated. I love y'all. But we're going to get into the Lightning Network and Happy New Year to everybody as well, because this is the last episode of the new year. In fact, if you're not in the Patreon, you'll be watching this in 2025. But if you're in the Patreon, you'll see it ahead of time. So Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you're safe, and enjoying time with your family. But I want to end the year by talking about the Lightning Network. And the reason being is because a lot of people, I don't feel like a lot of people have priced this in, understand the Lightning Network, use the Lightning Network. And for me, this is something that I've been spending all my time studying, right? So, I'm always going down different rabbit holes. It's one of the reasons why, they call me a maxi, but I'm a Bitcoiner. The reason is Bitcoin always has something to study. For all you shitcoiners out there, I don't even know how you find time to know what's going on with all those various protocols. Probably because you're not. You're just out here, chasing money and trying to like double your bread by chasing shitcoins. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is, it's going to take a miracle for you to get wealthy chasing shitcoins. That shit is what it is. I don't care how many videos you see on the internet. It's going to take a miracle for you to get wealthy chasing shitcoins. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how. Repeat it again. I don't care how many videos you see on social media. I don't care how many videos you see on social media. It's going to take a miracle for you to get wealthy chasing shitcoins.
It's going to take a miracle. Yes, it's going to take a miracle.
But I digress. So one of the reasons people chase shitcoins is because they feel like Bitcoin isn't scalable. It isn't scalable as a solution for payments, right? Now, we've talked in the past episodes about, is Bitcoin money, or is Bitcoin real estate, or is Bitcoin insurance, or is Bitcoin gold, all the different things. I think it's a combination of all of them. Bitcoin is different things to different people. That's my perspective. But I do believe it's good money, right? And one of the reasons it's good money to me, and one of the reasons I'm able to live on a Bitcoin standard and use Bitcoin often, is because of the Lightning Network. I've mentioned it several times on this show, but I never really broke down what the Lightning Network is. Now, I'll probably do a deeper dive within the Patreon, so make sure you go to blackwealthrebels.com and join that Patreon. But this will be a quick introduction to the Lightning Network because, again, I want to make sure I still provide value right here on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, on Stack Sats or Die Trying, all right? Now, that's right. Got a presentation for you guys. You guys know I love my little, slide deck. So, I know you're sitting here like, yo, Jimmy got another presentation, man. That's too good to be true. Nah, I'm back. I'm getting back in my bag going into 2025. I want to do a lot more teaching as opposed to just coming on here and pontificating. So you'll still get me to pontificate, but a lot more teaching in 2025 because I feel like in my community specifically, a lot of this is needed because even people who are now Bitcoiners, and I've seen making that journey, they are still just looking at price and not education. And again, I say it every episode. Matter of fact, this is going to be part of every episode at this point. I'm going to stop telling you that I say it every episode because it is part of every episode. You got to do the knowledge.
Do the knowledge, nigga.
You know what I'm saying? Part of doing the knowledge is watching Stack Sats or Die Trying. But remember, if you are someone that watches Stack Sats or Die Trying, if you are a member of the village, do the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's talk about it, right? The Lightning Network, Bitcoin scalability solution, right? So this is our intro to the Lightning Network. I'm going to explore how the second layer solution enhances Bitcoin scalability and its transaction speed. Now, I want to try to simplify this, right? Because the Lightning Network is something that I'm still studying. But I want to try to make it as simple as possible, right? So when you use a bank, a lot of you guys bank at JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, your credit union, maybe Federal Credit Union, whatever it may be, you have a bank. But most of the time when you're spending your money, you're not spending it from bank to bank. You're using what's known as a second layer. That second layer will be Visa, MasterCard, American Express, whatever it may be, right? So you have one layer, another layer on top of it. That second layer, let's just use Visa as an example, just to make it simple, right? You do all your transactions with Visa, and then it settles at your bank, which is the first layer. On Bitcoin, we have the Bitcoin network. Remember, Bitcoin is in fact a network, right? It's a network. It is the biggest network. On top of that, we have the Lightning Network. You make transactions on that second layer, everything eventually settles on the main network. So that's the framework we're going to start this with. Bitcoin, Lightning is the second layer, right? It's the second layer on the main network, right? Your bank, Visa is the second layer. Think about it that way. If you think about it that way, this will kind of make sense to you, right? Now, what the Lightning Network allows you to do is make off-chain transactions. Why is that needed, and why? So first of all, why is it needed? And second of all, why is Lightning the solution? So years past, there was a battle in the Bitcoin space for a bigger block size, right? There's actually a good book. It's called The Block Size Wars. Matter of fact, I'll drop it right here so you can see what the cover of the book looks like. But it's a good book that goes into the story and the narrative about how Bitcoin at one point, there were two camps within the Bitcoin development space, people that wanted bigger blocks and people that wanted to keep smaller blocks to keep decentralization. So decentralization is an important part of this conversation about the Lightning Network, right? But what happens is off-chain transactions are made on that second layer. So users can transact without broadcasting every transaction to the Bitcoin blockchain. That is important because the block size is what it is. There's smaller blocks, and you can't have a lot of transactions, like fast-paced transactions on that first layer. The same way you couldn't do it at a bank. So another good example, right? So if you're going to Wawa, matter of fact, I'm not even going to say Wawa because we do have a global audience here. I'm going to say McDonald's. McDonald's is global. Everybody knows what McDonald's is. I don't care what country, what language you speak, you know what McDonald's is. So if you're McDonald's and you're trying to buy matter of fact, forget a Big Mac. We're going to say the fish fillet because I don't even eat McDonald's, but what I do know is the fish fillet is their best sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And if you believe the fish fillet isn't their best sandwich, there's something wrong with you. In my opinion, matter of fact, it's not my opinion. It's a fact that the fish fillet is the best sandwich. That's clearly no debating,
Clearly, no debating.
I'm saying, but I digress. Getting back to what we're talking about. So if I'm trying to cop me a fish fillet, right?
Patty crank. Yes, sir. Now what's she order? Fish fillet.
I can't sit there and wait 10 minutes for the next block. I got to be able to move like this. In fact, there are McDonald's that use the Lightning Network across the world. But I have to be able to move like this. So I can't do everything on the main chain, right? Now, the Lightning Network also allows for on-chain recording, right? So we have opening and closing of channels that are recorded on the blockchain. We're going to go into what that means in a second. But also the Lightning Network allows us to reduce the network load. If we're making these small micro payments and transactions on that second layer, the load on the first layer, isn't as clogged up. It's reduced the network load, which is important, right? So this helps Bitcoin to scale. Now, how it operates, you have to set up what's known as channels. So users lock Bitcoin into a multi-sig wallet to create a payment channel. So one person opens up a channel with another person, right? Let's just say Jimmy and John open up channels. Jimmy opens up a channel with John, and we lock up in a multi-sig some actual Bitcoin from the main layer. That opening up of a channel happens on the main layer, but then we're able to transact on the second layer with whatever Bitcoin we put into that channel. This allows for instant transactions. When I send money through the Lightning Network, it's like this. It's damn near free, and it's like this. And I use the Lightning Network literally every day. Literally. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even saying a roundabout. I literally use it every day. And it's like this, and it moves, right? So the other part about this is the final balance is broadcast to that main chain, right? So we're focusing on the microtransactions on the second chain, but when we're ready to close that channel, where do we do that? On the main chain. But I may leave a channel open for months, possibly years, so I can always transact those micro payments with what I locked up in the multi-sig, right? I hope I'm not losing you, because I'm going to, kind of back up a little bit as we move forward, you know what I'm saying, within these slides. But, want to kind of lay the foundation. So the benefits of the Lightning Network are this. It's scalability. It reduces the load on the network by aggregating multiple transactions. I lock up Bitcoin with someone else. We decide to lock up. We create this channel. And we lock this Bitcoin up. Now we can scale because we're making micro transactions on that other channel. And it's so fast. It's very fast, and it's damn near free, right? So we see speed and we see low cost. Those are the benefits. Another way to think of this is if you guys have been drinking, our audience doesn't drink, you know what I'm saying? I'm in a dry house right now. I don't drink. I don't drink, by the way. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do all those things. I just love pizza and steak, but that's either here nor there. You know what I'm saying? The only proof of steak I want is a New York strip.
Fuck, I need to put it in subtitle or something.
But I digress. I digress again. The fact of the matter is scalability, speed, and low cost are the reasons that the Lightning Network is so powerful and why it's a scaling solution for Bitcoin, right? So what you'll see is a lot of shitcoiners, because believe it or not, I say it every episode, yet the shitcoiners still bother me. They're still telling me about their Satoshi Vision or their Bitcoin Cash or all these different shitcoins that I just don't care about, right? And a lot of them lost a bunch of money, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you already lost a bunch of money, you know what I'm saying? Like you thought that this, because it had bigger blocks, was going to be the solution to Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin went one way, your Bitcoin Cash or your Satoshi Vision went the other way. You know what I mean? You thought you wanted to be one way, but it's the other way. You know what I'm saying?
You want it to be one way.
Man, I don't
want it to be one way.
Stop.
Stop saying that. But it's the other way.
That's a fact of the matter. Also, you thought because you were going to get in early at a low price, then you were going to go up to, go to the moon, so to speak. It turned out to be too good to be true, though, didn't it? Right?
That turned out to be too good to be true.
Because we hear of Bitcoin, the real Bitcoin it is, but I digress. All right, let's talk about applications, microtransactions, and high frequency trading, right? So that layer 2 allows us to make a bunch of microtransactions. It enables small, frequent payments for services like content streaming or in-app purchases. I use a podcast platform that allows me to send sats to creatives that I enjoy. Also, I receive sats for people that like Stack Sats or Die Trying. If you listen through the Fountain app, by the way, the link to the Fountain app is within the show notes in the description. If you're a Bitcoiner, use Fountain to listen to podcasts. You can actually make sats just for listening, right? And if you create, you can get sats back for being a creative. Shout out to everybody who sends me sats. Shout out to my brother Michelle. I know off the top of the hand, Michelle streams sats to us. So Michelle, if you're watching this, I'll get your sats. It's all appreciated. It's all love. But I digress again. High frequency trading, for those that are into that. You can make rapid trades with minimal fees and delays, right? So if you are trying to move in and out of Bitcoin to, you're chasing price action, I don't do that. But if you are, this is a better way to do so through the Lightning Network, right? You want to grab a bunch of Satoshis and then hope the price moves whatever way you want to. And then, use the Lightning Network. It allows for that because you're paying next to nothing, right? When you look at all these other chains, Ethereum, when you look at some of these chains and what it costs to move value, it's like, I could use the Lightning Network and pay nothing, literally nothing. Today, I literally sent my attorney $5,025, $5,025, and it cost me about 4 cents, and it was boom, like that. Anywho, let's talk about channels, right? So I mentioned earlier, right? So Jimmy, that's me. Me and John set up, we lock up some BTC on the base layer, on the multi-sig, as previously mentioned, right? So I can now exchange value with John. But here's where it gets dope. Let's say John opens up, a channel with Carol. Now I want to send money to Carol. what'll happen is it'll go through John because that's how we're connected. It's a whole other network on the second layer. The thing about it is Carol has no idea that I routed it through John. And all this happens in the background, by the way. You don't have to sit there and say, oh, man, this person's connected to them, so I have to send it through them. I send it to someone. It will find someone in common, and it will. And again, it's instantaneous. That's why it's lightning, right? We're locking up Bitcoin. John may lock up some with Carol. I still can send to Carol, right? There are large channels out there, such as Strike and Cash App. Why do I bring that up? Because these channels are so large that they're connected to damn near everybody. So at the end of the day, if we're using Lightning, there's a connection there. You better believe it. It's a huge network that's layer 2, and the network is growing. You know what I'm saying? So, and if I'm being completely transparent, I run my own node. Boom. That's what my node looks like. Matter of fact, on the side. Hey, that's what my node looks like. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna come back later and drop a picture of my node, just because I tell folks I run nodes. I got miners in the crib, and I do all the things. But so I run my own actual channel. I opened up channels with different entities so I can route payments, because again, John gets a couple sats, pennies here and there. You're not going to get rich unless you do have one of those big ass channels like Strike or Cash App. But I do route stuff through my channel because I'm connected to a lot of bigger channels. With that being said, a lot of my transaction on the Lightning Network, if I'm being completely transparent and completely honest, which is something that I promise that I will do to you guys, I'll tell you the things I use. I'll tell you what I don't use. And again, I'm not perfect, because if I was perfect, I would do nothing but create various channels to run through. But a lot of my transactions actually happen through these large channels, such as Strike or Cash App. And some people are saying, well, that goes against the whole ethos of being decentralized. You're kind of centralizing power within those big entities. I don't completely disagree, but the base layer is where the decentralization happens. I only have money that I'm spending for various things that I put on the Lightning Network. My stack, if I had a stack, because I lost it all in the boating accident, would all be on the main layer in deep cold storage. But because I live on the Bitcoin standard, I have to spend Bitcoin, which is why I don't mind using one of those larger entities to actually move value back and forth. So on my Strike account, and as well as my Cash App account, I do leave Bitcoin there just to use on a Lightning Network. And people say, okay, so how do you, spend money there if you need to? Well, I also got Fold in the mix. You know what I'm saying? I can send money to Fold, spend through Visa, or, Bit Refill, all the different things that I've talked about in the past. But the fact of the matter is, what I'm really trying to get at with this slide and what I'm saying now is, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with using those larger channels, although that is more centralization in the space. And we're talking about freedom and decentralization. As long as the main chain is decentralized, I'm cool with that, right? I don't mind using one of the bigger channels to send value via the Lightning Network. You dig? So, but I do want to acknowledge that, because I know that's what some people are going to say. Now, there's also implementation challenges as it pertains to the Lightning Network. Everything is in gravy. It's still being built out. There's still a lot going on, but channel management can be a problem. Now, this gets a little bit technical. I don't want to get too deep. This is just an intro, but I do want to make sure that I acknowledge some of the issues with the Lightning Network. Channel management is a pain. That's one of the reasons why I use the bigger channels like Strike or Cash App, because they're so huge and I have no problem with moving value. The channels that I manage can be problematic at times, because someone can close the channel, right? We can open up a channel for 6 months. Sometimes I get a notification, hey, I need to close the channel because they need to move their Bitcoin. That's fine, right? But channel management can be a problem. It's been a problem for me in the past, trying to manage channels, because you have different types. And again, I don't want to get too complicated, but you have inbound liquidity and outbound liquidity, which you'll see is number 4. Liquidity balancing is problematic, but that also goes back to channel management. Routing optimization, making sure that things are being routed the right way. And that everything runs smooth. Watchtower services. Again, not trying to get too deep, but the idea is you create watchtower services to make sure that whoever you're opening a channel with is a good faith actor, and that everything is always balancing itself out. Again, that analogy of drinking and going to the bar that I was bringing up a minute ago is, if you open up a tab, you drink all day, and then when you're ready to close out the tab, you close that out on the main layer, right? So watchtower services is kind of like keeping track and making sure that on both sides of that channel that they're good faith actors and that everything is adding up. So these are challenges that are crucial if we want the Lightning Network to get widespread adoption, right? So it's not without some of its problems, but it's so promising because of how it actually works. When you use it, you get a different perspective. And what I'll say is, if you're watching this or you're listening to this, what you can do is you can just, open up a Lightning, and I don't want to say open up a channel, go use Cash App and, use the Lightning Network. The funny thing about that is this: Cash App stopped recently, right? And I realized this recently because we give away Bitcoin every Friday. The last couple of Fridays, I was having an issue because generally we use their cash tag. And what we did was we just sent the Bitcoin right to them. So they got rid of that feature on Cash App. You can't use the cash tag right now. So what you have to do is send it to them via their Bitcoin wallet that's within Cash App, if you still want to use Cash App, or you can send it via Lightning. So I've actually been explaining people how to use Lightning through this process. I bring all that to say that if you want to see just how good it can be, go to your Cash App, have someone else go to their Cash App. If you have Bitcoin on there, if you don't have Bitcoin, obviously buy Bitcoin, right, on your Cash App. Send it to them via the Lightning Network. When they click receive Bitcoin, it'll bring up like a QR code. Hit that QR code. It'll say main chain or Lightning. It'll say main chain or Lightning. Select Lightning. Get that address. Send them $5 or $10. Watch how fast it is. Watch how cheap it is. It will literally blow your mind. And I think that's the way to get a full appreciation is you have to use it. If you don't use it, you won't see just how great this can be. So go do that. Go to Cash App. That's the easiest way, right? If you guys use Strike, if you're a little bit more advanced and use Strike, you can use your Strike address. Your whatever it is at strike.me. But for most people are familiar with Cash App, at least in my experience, right? So I know that if you're watching this, you might be a little bit more advanced. But I'll just say, just give it a try. See how fast it is, and you'll be blown away. And then you'll realize what the potential of Lightning is. Now, more about its impact on, Bitcoin, right? So merchant adoption. This will help merchants adopt using Bitcoin as somewhere to receive payments. No one wants to be, like I said earlier, in the store and you're waiting for 10 minutes for something to, clear. And you have to sit there and wait. Like, all right, I want my fish fillet. Let me sit there for 10 minutes, wait for everything to go through on the main chain. No, merchant adoption. This extremely helps merchant adoption because things are like this. Things like this, right? The user experience. Again, I tell you to go use it just to try it, right? Because you'll see just how fast and how cheap it is to send transactions. Working in real estate, it still amazes me that we have to send wires often. Sending wires is so clunky. It's so expensive. Why is it that expensive? And it's just ridiculous what you have to go through. When I can use the Lightning Network and I could send all kinds of value, like especially if I'm using a bigger channel, I could send, $1 million if I wanted to. Because yes, there are millions of dollars that are locked up in the network that you can move back and forth. Now, network decentralization. I put this on the PowerPoint. This will be kind of controversial for those that know, because some people say that you're centralizing value by using the Lightning Network. But the thing is, the more people that run nodes to open up channels, the more decentralized the main chain becomes. When you run a node, you're downloading the full Bitcoin blockchain on that node to see every transaction, right? So understand that the main chain will become more decentralized, even though we're probably going to be using centralized entities on that second chain, unless more people start running Lightning Network nodes, right? And then we all start creating this. And if we get this at a bigger scale adoption, it will even decentralize the second layer. So we can debate back and forth. I do see both sides of it. So I don't want to act like I'm not acknowledging what's the possibility is, because I know that the shitcoiners are going to be coming at me saying that, it's not a good solution, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, man, you know how I feel about your shitcoins. You know how I feel about Bitcoin. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm always going to feel this way. It just is what it is. Once you accept that, the more you just leave me alone. And if you don't care for the content, then go on, man. I'm going to build with my folks.
And I will feel this way till the end of time. Ooh, even though you heard this 1,000 times, it's the truth. Oh, baby.
Anyway, I digress again. So what's the future of the Lightning Network? Increased adoption. I do see more increased adoption happening, right? This is just my perspective, because once people start to use it, start to see how it works, the better they'll be. protocol improvements. The protocol will be improved. The protocol will be, there are people that are constantly working on a protocol, so it will be improved. Cross-chain functionality. Now, I don't mean shit coins, but I have read about people trying to use the Lightning Network for kind of like a stable coin, so to speak, and it's just different things. We'll see how that plays out. IoT integration, right? So Internet of Things, you'll see the Lightning Network just integrated in all kinds of different spaces. It already is on a lot of merchant sites and a lot of other sites that you already see the integration. So the thing is, as the Lightning Network evolves, it's going to revolutionize Bitcoin's utility and its scalability. It's going to be a big part of the narrative of Bitcoin for those that actually want to use Bitcoin as money. There are a lot of folks that don't care to use Bitcoin as money. They want to use Bitcoin just as a store of value, as their gold, and not something that they actually spend. For those of us that live on a Bitcoin standard and we need to spend, this is crucial for us. This is beautiful for us. Now, there's ways around that too. Again, my favorite company, and just being completely transparent, I'm like, ridiculously what's the word I'm looking for? Is when it comes to Fold, I don't like bringing Fold up too much because people say that, all you do is glaze Fold on your show. Fold is my favorite Bitcoin company. It just is what it is. Like, I'm irresponsibly long Fold is what I'm looking for, the word I was looking for. In fact, there is an actual Twitter group called Irresponsibly Long Fold. And I talk about Fold so much, they literally made me an admin in the group because I'm irresponsibly long Fold. But Fold allows you, without the integration of the Lightning Network. Now, by the way, Fold, you can use Lightning too, for those that don't know. So you can leave your actual Bitcoin on Fold, on a wallet on Fold, move it right to a Visa card to use. But because I have money on Strike and Cash App and some of those bigger channels, sometimes I will send money to Fold from Lightning just to buy a gift card. So if I'm going to somewhere specific, like where did I go recently? It was a steakhouse. I think it was Longhorns or something. See what I'm saying? So, shout to Longhorn. I told you, man, I gotta get the ribeye and whatnot. Proof of steak.
Fuck, I need to put it in subtitle or something.
But anyway, got a gift card, and I sent some Satoshis, what I'm saying, via Strike, Lightning Network over to purchase that gift card. You can purchase gift cards on Fold with Lightning Network, but but I digress. The point is, the Lightning Network, for those of us that live on the Bitcoin standard, is crucial. It helps us to do so, and this is what the future looks like. And the Lightning Network map, and this is as of today as I'm recording this, which is New Year's Eve, by the way. This is what it looks like. There are channels going all across the world. So we talk about the Bitcoin network, that is an actual network. So is Lightning. Here's a visual representation of what's going on across the world where people are running Lightning nodes and opening channels and exchanging value. You know what I'm saying? We're in South America. North America is going crazy right now. You know what I'm saying? We're in parts of Europe, parts of Africa. You dig? So we're in multiple continents, multiple countries, and we're getting busy right now with the Lightning Network. These are Lightning node channels from around the world. This is what it looks like. So just want to give you a visual representation of the Lightning Network and the fact that it is a layer 2 network that sits on top of the Bitcoin network. It may be a little complicated to folks, but if you think about your bank being layer 1, Visa being layer 2, and Visa where the transactions happen, think about the Lightning Network as the Bitcoin network being layer 1. The Lightning Network sits on top of that being layer 2, and transactions are happening across the network. And they're happening every day. Because again, this is something that I use on a daily basis. I'll explain to you in a minute why I say I use it on a daily basis, because I actually do. But a lot of it is how I stack sats. I stack sats on the Lightning Network as well. So 1ML, which is a company that is one of the bigger channels out there. You open up a channel with them. This is some of their statistics. And these are just people that are connected to them. The number of nodes connected to them is 11,876. It's down about 2% from last month, but I watch this month in and month out to see how they're growing. Most of the time they're up. Right now they're down for the month. But 11,876 nodes are connected to them. They have 45,400 channels, and they have over 5,000 Bitcoin locked up with just people that are connecting to them. So what's crazy about that is you can see what the value is right there, right? You're talking about close to, what's that, 472 million? Yeah. That's what's locked up just with this one, just with 1ML, right? Who is they're big in the lightning space. So I looked this up just to, put as part of the presentation, just to give you guys an idea of the fact that it is a network it is operating right now, and people are exchanging value. So this isn't something that is pie in the sky. I'm pontificating. It's something that I use on a daily basis, and something that is very operational. Like I said, you can go right into your Cash App right now and see it. As a matter of fact, even if you don't exchange value with someone, just go into your Cash App, hit your Bitcoin logo, go to the bottom left of the screen where the money is, hit that, hit Bitcoin, then hit receive as if someone's sending you something. And then it'll give you, your QR code. Tap the QR code. You'll see Bitcoin network and Lightning network. And you'll see what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Just take a look at that, Yeah, man. So that's a little bit about the Lightning network. Like I said, I'll do a deeper dive to show you guys some of the different ways that I use the Lightning network. I'll probably do that in the Patreon. But the reason I can tell you for a fact that I use it every day is a lot of the games that I play that pay Bitcoin, because yes, I do play games on my phone, like when I'm sitting around, watching TV or shooting the shit, because believe it or not, I don't work all day. I'll be chilling sometimes. And when I'm chilling, I'm listening to an audiobook or whatever, but sometimes I play these games that are mindless. Like one of them is literally solitaire. Like I sit there and play solitaire while I listen to an audiobook, and I'm getting sats for doing so. All of that happens on a Lightning network. In fact, if I be quiet for a second, you can hear the fan running. That's one of my miners going off on the side. The payments that I get on my mining pool come via the Lightning network, right? So I use the Lightning network. I get paid from my miner literally daily. That comes via Lightning network. The games I play, that comes via the Lightning network. So I use this on a daily basis to stack sats. The great thing about those big channels like Strike, I can get paid in Lightning network via Strike, and then I can move it right to the main chain, because Strike is just like Cash App. I can go between Lightning and main chain, which is a beautiful thing, being able to operate between those two spaces. So I just thought I wanted to end the year off by talking about the Lightning network a little bit, because I mention it all the time and never really explain what it is. Again, just to reiterate, Bitcoin network, Lightning is layer 2, sits on top. Microtransactions happening on the Lightning network. Everything is decentralized on the main chain. It's not that complicated when you think about it that way, or if you think about the analogy that a lot of people use, which is the bar tab. Lightning is opening up a bar tab, handling transactions, and you settle them on the main chain. Remember, opening up a channel and closing a channel are the only transactions that take place on the main chain. All of your little micro transactions, they are happening on the Lightning network, right? So, I feel sorry for you guys that, didn't understand or try to use the Lightning network, and you lost all your money chasing shit coins because you thought they were more scalable. And, some of you got rug pulled, and now you got to start back at one.
Then I start back at one.
Don't know what to tell you other than, come join us over here. You know what I'm saying? You don't want nobody all up in the videos. My fault. I digress. Let me stop that, man. Yeah, man. So I just want to end this year off with a little bit about the Lightning network. Tell you guys I appreciate all the support for Stack Sats or Dodge Trying for 2024. I made a couple folks, I made like their top 5 podcasts, which is pretty dope. Shout to Pedro. I appreciate that. And, shout to Ross, who sent me a beautiful message today talking about, buying real estate to stack sats. So I love the fact that, I don't care if it's one person, 2 people, 25 people, or 25,000 people, that this show has had an impact on folks. I promise to make it better going into 2025, because I was telling, shout out to my brother, Coach Carter, real estate Coach Carter on Instagram. I was telling him today, listen, man, this thing is going to go one or two ways. I'm going to be a billionaire, or I'm going to be homeless, but I'm all in, right? Because to me, Bitcoin is about much more than price. Bitcoin to me is actual freedom. Bitcoin to me is a way to have full control. And, it gives me confidence in my money from the standpoint that I know my money is protected by the network. And I know that what's mine is mine. I have true ownership. I'm not borrowing from someone. You can make the argument that's what you're doing with stock and real estate. You could make that argument, right? But I know this is me, and it just, gives me a certain level of confidence in the finance space that I've never had with any other instrument. And that includes insurance, and that includes real estate. It includes everything. So Bitcoin has changed my life. I know it'll change much more lives. And again, it's always about the journey, never the destination. And part of that journey is always stacking sats. So I love y'all. Stay safe. Give me some feedback, some comments. I love the feedback. Even if you hate it, that's cool. We get some haters in the comments at times. We had a hater pull up on our live on Sunday talking about hood, why you buy the hood, and I wish him Merry Christmas, man, and told him to K Solo. That's our new thing. Man. We tell people to K Solo and keep it moving. And if you don't know what K Solo is, listen to Earl Simmons' poetry called "Get at Me, Dog," and what he told K Solo. So that's what we tell people: it's K Solo and enjoy life, man. But everything is great over here. Again, I hope you guys have a happy holidays, spending time with your family. You appreciate it. Next year is going to be amazing. Don't forget, before I get out of here, join the village. Go to blackwealthrebels.com. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I do got stuff for sale. And again, I'm not trying to sell you anything, though. I'm being completely honest. I don't care if you do a paid one or not. Those that do join the paid one obviously will get more content. But at the end of the day, I just want everybody to kind of like make the transition over there, even if you're in the free tier. Because again, if you're in the free tier, you get stack sats early. So, give me some feedback early. You dig? But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Stay safe. And as always, first of all, pay me in Bitcoin. I got to put that out there too. So if you guys want to pay me something, you want to send me some sats or something, you know what I'm saying? Send me some sats. I do take Bitcoin, right? Pay me in Bitcoin. But as we always say, man, get out of here, stack sats or die trying. Peace.